our conservative values.
Right now at 5, a Pineville woman enters a plea in the kidnapping and murder of a pregnant Arkansas woman.
And our alert days continue with dangerous heat continuing through tomorrow. Heat index values once again close to 115. One look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, high-speed broadband services may be on the way to rural parts of Kansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. So we again have an alert day in place today for that dangerous heat. It's been oppressive across the area and it is continuing to remain that way. However, we've also got a couple of thunderstorms just outside of our viewing area, and that's what we're going to start with a look at, is a little thunderstorm complex north side of Wichita. And as you can see, at least part of that storm complex has a severe thunderstorm warning associated with it through the next about 15 minutes. The last update on this thing is it was moving east at an entire 15 miles an hour, so it's not really moving much at all. In fact, if we put it into motion, you'll see where it's really not moving much at all, but it is something we'll keep an eye on because it could be the trigger for a couple of additional isolated showers or storms out in our western counties. We'll keep an eye on that for you. The other big story again is the heat, the excessive heat warnings and heat advisories. Most of us still dealing with those excessive heat warnings through this evening. That means in these zones we could have those heat index values again approach 115 degrees, and in the heat advisories, those heat index values anywhere from 105 to 110 degrees. So dangerous heat for sure continuing. We'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies as we go through the day and into the afternoon. So some clearing by the late afternoon. Could still again see an isolated shower or storm, but the overall chance at this point is less than 10%. We're not really looking at much of an opportunity for any kind of precipitation out there. Again, a warm start, 80 in Joplin, 79 in Pittsburgh. And as we look at temperatures across the region, boy, again, it is just toasty. We've got upper 70s and low 80s across the region. And once you factor in dew point humidity, we've got those heat index values for most of us low to mid 80s as we start our day. It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Feels like it should be 5 o'clock in the afternoon already. And unfortunately, though, that's just that indication as to how hot it's going to get. A little warmer today. Partly cloudy skies once again. Highs upper 90s and a few low 100-degree readings absolutely possible. And we've got those heat index values for a lot of us up to 115 degrees as a distinct possibility as well. We'll continue to monitor the storm complex off to our west and see what it does or whether or not it triggers any additional development. We'll break down more on this dangerous heat and how the weekend is shaping up here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
Chris, thanks. A plea in a horrific area kidnapping and murder case that drew national headlines. 44-year-old Amber Waterman of Pineville, Missouri, had been accused of kidnapping and killing an Arkansas woman in order to take her unborn child. Yesterday, Waterman pleaded guilty to 1 count of kidnapping resulting in death and 1 count of causing the death of a child in utero. The victim was Ashley Bush. She was 31 weeks pregnant when she was lured to a meeting with her killer in Maysville, Arkansas, back in October of 2022. Waterman had contacted Bush through Facebook, offering the possibility of a job. After her disappearance, authorities responded to reports of a baby girl who was not breathing in the Pineville, Missouri area. That child died. Waterman first claimed she had given birth to the child, but later admitted it was Bush's baby. While searching Waterman's property, authorities found the burned remains of the mother. An autopsy indicated Bush had died of penetrating trauma of the torso, and the death was classified as a homicide. Waterman now faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole for each death. Neosho police were called to help assist a car that had gotten stuck on a railroad yesterday evening. Officers found the car on the north end of town as it had become high-centered on the tracks. Not long after officers arrived, a train heading southbound approached. The driver was able to get out before the train struck the car and spun it off the tracks. No one was injured and all traffic was allowed to resume an hour later. Joplin first responders were called to 32nd and Texas Avenue for a two-vehicle crash yesterday evening. One of the vehicles was making a turn onto 32nd Street when it was struck heading east. An older male was transported to Freeman West with severe injuries. The investigation is ongoing at this time. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. More families in rural Kansas will have access to reliable internet. KOAM is a Kansas internet provider, and they received a $950,000 grant to provide broadband access in Allen and Coffee counties. It's intended to allow for telehealth, online education, and remote work in more rural communities. These communities should see an immediate improvement to their service.
In the area that we were working in, over 90% did not have what the FCC would call is basic internet connection. So that means 25 download speed, 3 upload speed.
SOFR expects Allen County to be connected to broadband by the middle of 2025. Marion Days kicks off this Thursday in Carthage, Missouri, and this year organizers expect more than 60,000 people to attend the annual Vietnamese Catholic celebration. Many of the attendees are already in town. KOAM's Tanya Bach shows us how the community is welcoming them with a place to stay.
That's this lamp. I don't think I got this lamp.
Diana Fields is making the final preparations for her house guests this week. She's hosting 3 families during this year's Marion Days celebration. The annual Vietnamese Catholic event draws in tens of thousands of visitors to Carthage, Missouri, and they all need a place to stay.
All the hotels in the 4 cities around here are packed.
The annual pilgrimage packs hotels and converts Carthage homes like Fields into Airbnbs for the week. Thousands even choose to brave the heat, camping in tents in neighborhoods surrounding the campus of the Congregation of the Mother Co-Redemptrix. Father Paul Tran says Marion Days is not just about religion, it's a family reunion.
Right in the middle of the United States, so people from everywhere that, like here, the extended family cannot stay in one place, so it's hard to visit everybody, but they make this as a vacation.
They've been here, and it's usually their relatives. That way we know that they're vetted through Airbnb.
Fields says she and her husband started hosting in 2018.
But there's big followings of Vietnamese people in San Diego, it seems like Texas. We've had some from Colorado, from Iowa, just from all over the country. I was in high school during the Vietnam War, so I don't really know a lot about it, and it's been interesting to hear them talk about when their parents, because these are like second generation Vietnamese that came over from Vietnam to escape the war and everything. And they just talk about how, they came here, their parents worked really hard, they were met with a lot of obstacles, prejudice, because the war was very controversial. But they watched their parents work really hard and create a life here. They have a strong belief in God, strong family values, and we can relate to that.
A cultural experience Fields says she gets through hosting, something she plans to do for years to come.
As long as we're here, because we're really in a convenient place for them, and it works out really good.
Reporting in Carthage, Missouri, Tanya Bach, KOAM News.
Marion Days runs through Sunday and is open for everyone to attend. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the Oklahoma City Thunder bring their basketball youth camp to Carthage, Missouri. Plus, police in England clash with protesters outside a mosque after a deadly stabbing. And dangerous heat continues. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back.
Well, yesterday morning in Carthage, dozens of young basketball players got the chance to learn from the Oklahoma City Thunder at their Hustle Camp, which has been sold out for months. The Oklahoma City Thunder Youth Basketball Camp takes place at the Carthage YMCA. The Thunder bring their drumline, dancers, and several youth basketball coaches. Camp is divided into 2 sessions for different age groups, 3 hours apiece, and helps young players learn the fundamentals of the game as well as having some fun. Campers leave with a water bottle, t-shirt, basketball, and a ticket to a Thunder game for the upcoming season. To Major League Baseball, the Cardinals played the Rangers last night after losing 6-3 Monday night. The Redbirds respond emphatically yesterday evening with an 8-1 victory. St. Louis chased Texas starter Max Scherzer out of the game early. He leaves after just 4 innings pitched, allowing 3 runs. Rumored match of the series is this afternoon. Over to Chicago, the Royals just swept the White Sox 10 days ago, and they look well on their way to another sweep. Kansas City beats Chicago 4-3. Once again, Bobby Witt Jr. comes up big for the Royals. Monday night, he had a go-ahead grand slam in the 8th. Last night, he gets an RBI single to tie it in the 8th. Game 3 of the series is today. Over the NFL, this has been making waves online yesterday. The surprise onside kick is officially dead as part of the league's new kickoff rules. Teams must announce beforehand if they intend to attempt an onside kick. On top of that, onside attempts cannot happen until the 4th quarter, and only the team that is trailing at that point can perform them. For fans that are upset by this change, the good news is, so far, this rule is only in effect for the 2024 season. Switching gears to the 2024 Olympics in Paris, plenty more action yesterday. Here's some of the highlights. The U.S. women's gymnastics team, led by Simone Biles, wins gold once again. U.S. men's soccer blanks Guinea 3-0 and advances to the knockout stage for the first time since 2000. U.S. women's rugby 7 medals for the first time after scoring on the final play of the game. In the pool, the United States wins a silver and bronze in the women's 100-meter backstroke, then 2 more silvers in the 800-meter freestyle and 4 by 200-meter free relay. And Girard, Kansas native Derek Mine finishes in 5th place in men's trap shooting. Still to come, a new study suggests mental health problems are going undiagnosed in young people, and got another check of that hot forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 5:17 now on this Wednesday morning. We've got this little thunderstorm complex. It's just really outside of our immediate area. There was a severe thunderstorm warning associated with a portion of this, but it kind of merged together with another development north of Wichita. That warning expired about 2 minutes ago and has not been reissued. You can see it's not overly impressive now, but it did flare up pretty quickly and got to be a nice little severe thunderstorm there before it again merged with some other activity. So we're going to see exactly how that pans out and whether or not it'll have an influence on any other additional development across parts of southeast Kansas. But all in all today, we are expected to remain dry. In fact, our pop-up storm chances are considerably lower. They're less than 10% for us today compared to what we at least saw yesterday, even though we still didn't see all that much. Some of us got some rain. As we head into the afternoon on the future track, we'll have some clouds here and there. An isolated shower is possible, but as you can see, it is a less than 10% chance for us. We're still hot across the region. Then as we head into the morning hours tomorrow, could see a few thunderstorms in our northern counties and maybe even a weak little complex of showers. Honestly, though, again, the overall chance of rain still relatively low, but nonetheless, few isolated showers and storms will be possible for our Thursday. And then we'll see that repeat Thursday night, and then again into Friday. We could see another thunderstorm complex, so they're expecting some severe weather off to our northwest. And by the time it gets here, it should be sub-severe, but could clip parts of northeastern Oklahoma as it rolls through heading into our Friday. And then our Friday, once again, just another hot one, but temperatures slightly more manageable out there, but not significantly so. We do still have excessive heat warnings for the majority of the area. Most of these will run through tonight, and then they'll start to kind of wrap up and go back to being heat advisories. But at least through today, we do have that chance of heat index values in these warning areas approaching 115 degrees. And if you're in the heat advisory area, we're still talking 105 to 110 degree heat index values. So remember, first, you need to take your pets out on early morning walks. Now's the best time to do this. I know it's super early, but really before the sun comes up, make sure they're indoors. Otherwise, keep your kids indoors. Honestly, with this kind of heat, they don't realize how dangerous it is. They need to stay inside. They may not like it very much, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Make sure they're staying hydrated, water and Pedialyte pops. For those who do have to work outdoors, again, you know the routine. Stay hydrated, take frequent breaks, find shade, and monitor it yourself. If you start feeling a little sick, get out of there, okay? And then, of course, check on the elderly as well. They're susceptible to this kind of heat like kids are. Make sure that they're doing okay. We're at that point still where heat exhaustion is likely, heat stroke is possible, and we have a graphic explaining the warning signs of both of these and the differences between these two things on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. In Joplin right now, we're mostly clear, 80 degrees. The winds are breezy, south at 13, gusting to 23, feels like 84. That dew point sitting at 71. Across the area, for most of us, temperatures upper 70s and low 80s as we get this day started. And then you throw in the dew points, which are about as yucky as they were yesterday. We've got low, mid, and even upper 70-degree dew points, so we're going in that muggy, soupy, and beyond range. And of course, that factored in. Look at some of these heat index values. 85 is what it feels like in Chanute. We've got low to mid 80 feels like temperatures out there, so uncomfortable once again. Well, partly cloudy skies through the morning. Again, we'll keep an eye on that thunderstorm complex out by Wichita. It should die out before too much longer, and it's really not moving much either, but we'll keep an eye on it. We'll be back into the upper 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. Heading into the afternoon, yeah, that's a number I know we don't want to see, but that's the number we've got. 99 as a high on the average, so keep in mind we have a 15-county area. Some of you are going to be a little warmer than that. Some of you may be a degree or two cooler than that, but either way you paint it, hot and partly cloudy. As we head into the evening, still pretty warm. Could see again those isolated shower storms overnight tonight. Most of us still dry, partly cloudy, and still mild as well. Upper 70s, maybe some low 80s. We have the alert day continuing into tomorrow. Again, could see a couple of pop-up storms. Highs right around 100 degrees. Staying pretty hot Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Well, you get the picture here. Hot every day for the next several days. We do have some rain chances by next Thursday and Friday, but still, dangerous heat continuing. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning. A new study suggests mental health problems are being missed or going undiagnosed in young people. About 60% of young people who died by suicide between January 2010 and December 2021 had no previously diagnosed mental health condition, according to the study. Researchers looked at data on suicides between the ages of 10 and 24 from the CDC's National Violent Death Reporting System. The CDC records included more than 40,000 suicides among young people. Of those, 40% had a documented mental health diagnosis, such as clinical depression, schizophrenia, or anxiety disorders. The data showed that people who were American Indian, Alaska Native, and Black were less likely to have a diagnosis compared to white people. And can you believe today is the last day of July? The start of a new school year can be challenging for some students, and experts say preparing for it now can help. Mandy Gaither has tips on how to help students transition back to the classroom.
Putting away the bathing suits and packing the book bags may feel different for each student.
It's normal for them to have all kinds of emotions.
Strong for Life licensed therapist Jody Baumstein says as students head back to the classroom, gauge how they're feeling by asking open-ended questions and then simply listen.
We think we need to swoop in and save them from the feeling. But when we say things like, don't worry, it's going to be fine, it doesn't make anybody feel better. It actually makes them feel worse because now they feel like there's something wrong with them. They shouldn't feel that way, and you don't get it.
Baumstein says returning to school can be nerve-wracking for some because of the unknown, so help by filling in the blanks.
So thinking about things like going to meet the teacher night, or going and taking a tour of the school if it's a new space, this is really important because a lot of kids have anxiety about the physical space.
Routines are important for children, so Baumstein says to start getting back into one. If summer bedtimes are different, inch back to where they should be before the first day of school. If there are new school supplies, practice using them so students are comfortable. And she says to keep the conversation going throughout the school year. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Baumstein says if parents are asking children about their day and only getting one-word answers, try using games at dinner time for conversation starters. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we have another alert day today, and that continues into tomorrow for dangerous heat. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
Good morning. I'm Elise Snowy with your KOAM News update. 44-year-old Amber Waterman of Pineville, Missouri, pleaded guilty to one count of kidnapping resulting in the death of Ashley Bush and one count of causing the death of a child in utero. Bush was 31 weeks pregnant when she was lured to a meeting with Waterman in Maysville, Arkansas in October 2022. Waterman now faces a mandatory sentence of life in prison without parole for each death. Families in rural Kansas will have access to reliable internet. A $950,000 grant has been awarded to provide broadband access in Allen and Coffee counties. It's intended to allow for telehealth, online education, and remote work in more rural communities. The service should be set up by the middle of 2025.
And we have an alert day again today and tomorrow for dangerous heat. Heat index values once again for most of us approaching 115 degrees. Highs upper 90s, low 100s, partly cloudy skies, maybe an isolated shower. The chance is very low. Partly cloudy skies through the evening and into the overnight, still mild. We're going to go upper 70s and again maybe an isolated shower or storm. That's going to continue into our Thursday, but still most of us dry. Dangerous heat continues for the next several days into next week.
Right now at 5:30, a local fire department is getting a little boost to help buy new equipment.
And we have another alert day today. They continue through Thursday as we could see heat index values once again up to 115 degrees. We'll have a look at that forecast, get you out the door coming up.
Plus, the Carthage Water and Electric Plant cuts the ribbon on a project bringing more reliable power to the city.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. So again, an alert day in place today.
Yep.
It will be in place again tomorrow, all for that dangerous heat that we've had to deal with. And unfortunately, even though the higher end heat index values may start to wane a little bit, we're still going to be dealing with dangerous heat for the next several days. We don't have any good rain or storm systems for about a week and a half at this point.
It's a pretty long time.
It is, and it's because of the heat, it's going to make it drag on even longer. It's going to make it feel even longer. Let's start, though, with the Skywatch Storm Tracker. So earlier this morning, at the start of the show, we did have a severe thunderstorm warning outside of our area, but just to the northeast of Wichita. As you can see, now we've kind of just got a messy thunderstorm complex over there. We had one severe storm. It flared up, was by itself, wasn't really moving, and then additional activity developed behind it and kind of choked it out. So now we just have some showers and thunderstorms north of Wichita, rain trying to enter parts of Greenwood County north of Eureka. So we're going to see exactly how this pans out. But again, the storm, because we had a warning with it, we were able to track its speed and get more information. It was only moving about 15 miles an hour to the east. And you can see this activity. It flared up, tried to make its own, and now it's kind of dying out and starting to almost lift a little more northeasterly toward Emporia. So we'll see exactly how it plays out, but in all honesty, it's expected to die out before any of us have an opportunity to see so much as a sprinkle out of that. We do have the excessive heat warnings for most of the area continuing for at least through this evening, and so we're still talking heat index values up to 115 degrees. Heat advisories, those heat index values 105 to 110 degrees. We head into the afternoon, we have a less than 10% chance of an isolated shower. If you look close, you'll see very quickly where there might be a shower, perhaps two of them, in parts of southeastern Kansas, and that's going to be about it. Otherwise, just dangerously hot. 80 in Joplin right now, 78 in Pittsburgh, so already off to an uncomfortable start. Temperatures for the majority of us, upper 70s and some low 80-degree readings out there. Save Cassville again, still the cool spot. Not by much, but a little cooler than most of us. And our heat index values, though, right there along with that, so we've got a lot of low to mid-80s for our heat index values, so a very uncomfortable start to the day ahead of another very uncomfortable and dangerously hot day. Partly cloudy skies. We'll go upper 90s again, maybe some lower 100s out there, but The big focus, those heat index values could approach up to 115 degrees again today. We're going to talk about this dangerous heat, how long it lasts, and if there's any other rain chances on the horizon here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, we'll check in with you soon, Chris. The state of Oklahoma has a sales tax holiday coming up this weekend. What this means for shoppers in the Sooner State is retail taxes will not be collectible or payable on certain purchases. Specifically, any article of clothing or footwear under $100 per item this weekend will be tax-free. Shoppers can shop online or at retail locations. Oklahoma's sales tax holiday runs from Friday through Sunday. The Carthage Water and Electric plant celebrated new renovations to its transmission line. The plant yesterday hosted a ribbon-cutting ceremony, and officials say the 69 kilovolt transmission line renovations will help them keep the power on for the thousands of customers they serve.
It has a lifespan to it, and this was getting closer and closer to its end of life. And for us, we felt it was proper to move forward with the replacement of this so that we could get additional capacity off this line and then have and stabilize our future growth potential in the system.
During the ceremony, the plant also recognized a pair of retirees who worked on the original transmission line back in 1961. Well, Crawford County Mental Health yesterday cut the ribbon on a new location for their children's services. The ceremony featured a newly renovated office on Broadway in Pittsburgh and a meet and greet with the staff. Visitors had a chance to learn about children's services available to the community, as well as new youth mental health and crisis services.
Over the last year, we've grown considerably for the amount of clients that we've seen, clients we've worked with. We've developed great partnerships with local partners, schools, different things like that have been great in working with us. And I think as a result of those partnerships and our expansion of services, we've seen more clients come seeking what we're able to provide.
Children's services are now at 710 North Broadway. The local fire department is getting a little boost courtesy of the wind indirectly. Crawford County, Kansas commissioners have voted to help the Hepler Fire Department, pay for a fire truck using money received from the Jayhawk Wind Farm in Hepler.
In the past, we did sewer upgrades, some other upgrades. This year, when they went through and they were looking at replacing a fire truck for that area, the mayor, Doug Harris, in that area reached out to me and said, is there any way that we utilize that money for part of this fire truck payment that they had purchased?
Commissioners voted to provide nearly $36,000 from the Wind Farm Fund to help pay for a fire truck replacement. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard says the leader of Hamas has been assassinated. Plus, massive protests continue in Venezuela after naming President Nicolas Maduro the winner in Sunday's election. We'll have the latest. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
We have an alert day today and tomorrow as dangerous heat continues. Heat index values up to 115 degrees. Highs upper 90s, lower 100s with partly cloudy skies. Partly cloudy and still mild, well, still hot for the evening hours. Near 80 for our low and maybe an isolated shower or storm overnight. Few pop-up storms possible on our Thursday, still hot, and that heat continues as we head into the next work week. Next rain chances next Thursday and Friday.
Topping World Watch, 3 Russian warships depart Cuban waters yesterday. A training ship, patrol frigate, and an offshore oil tanker arriving in Havana Saturday, in a visit reflecting ties between Cuba and Russia. The arrival of the vessels came just weeks after another set of Russian warships visited to Cuban capital as part of planned military exercises last month. Russia has been a longtime ally of Cuba and Venezuela, with its warships and aircraft having made some trips into the Caribbean and docked in Havana. Police in England clashing with protesters outside a mosque yesterday. Demonstrators throwing bottles and stones at officers not far from where 3 girls were stabbed to death during a Taylor Swift-themed dance class. The crowd is believed to be supporters of the far-right group, the English Defense League. The violence is said to be inspired by speculation about a teenage suspect arrested after the stabbing in which 10 others were injured, including 7 who are said to be in critical condition. The incident is said to be the latest in a string of knife attacks in the country. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard says the leader of Hamas is dead. Iran says Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Tehran early today. Haniyeh was in Tehran to attend Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian's swear-in ceremony. Iran has not yet released details about the assassination, but says an investigation is underway. No responsibility has been claimed in the Hamas leader's death. Israel vowed to kill Haniyeh and other Hamas leaders after the October 7th attacks. Well, day 2 of massive protesting in Venezuela. Thousands of people marching in the streets of Caracas in anger over authorities naming President Nicolas Maduro the winner in Sunday's election. Meanwhile, the opposition says they have proof they won. Kevin Cork has the story.
Giant statues of Hugo Chavez toppling to the ground across Venezuela. Anti-government protesters using sledgehammers to destroy them and gasoline to set them ablaze.
The people here were Chavistas, and now they are no longer.
It comes as public anger grows over Sunday's presidential election results. Chavez's successor, President Nicolas Maduro, was declared the winner, giving him a third 6-year term in office. But Maduro's rival, opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez, says he has voting data showing he had twice as many votes and is the real winner.
To the National Electoral Council that still are looking for tally sheets. Here they are. Come look for all of us here.
On Tuesday, thousands took to the streets of Caracas in solidarity, while mostly peaceful earlier demonstrations led to violent clashes and the arrest of more than 700 people. Here at home, the White House is holding off on recognizing the election results. Instead, the administration is calling for full transparency.
We continue to call on Venezuela's electoral authorities to release full, transparent, and detailed voting results, including by polling stations as well.
Several Republican lawmakers also calling for renewed economic sanctions.
I'm hoping we'll take lessons learned from the fact that this probably was a tainted election and hold them accountable.
As for Maduro, he has vowed to stay in power, and his allies are now calling for leaders in the opposition to be jailed.
That's it for World Watch. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 544 coming up on 545 now on this Wednesday morning. And we've still got these showers, a couple of thunderstorms off to the west of our area, a few light showers working into the northern portions of Greenwood County. We did have a severe thunderstorm warning earlier this morning, but it died out quickly once some additional development kind of came in and took away what energy it had. This activity is drifting slowly east-northeast and unfortunately should die out before really any of us see anything out of it. But you can see where that severe thunderstorm warning was, where that little cell flared up by itself, but then got choked out by new development back behind it. And if you look at the newest development that's taking place, you'll see that it is drifting northeast up toward Emporia. So our rain chances today, less than 10%. There might be a shower, perhaps 2. And that's really about all we have a chance for. That's going to be in parts of southeastern Kansas if we see anything at all. The only thing we're really going to see, it's a guarantee, is the dangerous heat across the area once again today. Early tomorrow morning, could have a few stray thunderstorms starting to roll into our northern counties, and this could trigger some additional isolated showers and thunderstorms with this little wave as it tries to sink south into the area. Again, though, unfortunately, most of us will simply be dry, hot, and muggy across the area. We go on Thursday night, we get a few isolated showers and storms. Some severe weather is possible out to our west, and some of those storms, while they're in their kind of decaying state, may clip parts of northeastern Oklahoma. So from Bartlesville, Veneta, maybe to Grove, Miami, you might get a stray shower or 2 out of this activity, but we're not expecting much. And we go into our Friday, and it's another similar situation. It's just going to be straight up hot as we go through the day with just a few clouds. All right, so we have the alert day today and tomorrow. We still have the excessive heat warnings over most of the area. Now, a lot of these are set to expire this evening and be replaced with heat advisories. We'll see exactly how that pans out, but at least through today, heat index values up to 115 degrees still possible. And we have the heat advisory still for Barry, Newton, McDonald, and Lawrence counties and Benton counties down there, and that's still for heat index values of 105 to 110 degrees. Don't forget, we have a number of extreme heat safety tips on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And that does include a graphic that kind of explains the warning signs and symptoms of heat exhaustion versus heat stroke, because that's where we are again today. Heat exhaustion is likely, heat stroke is possible. You got to take this heat seriously and make sure that you're taking appropriate precautions for yourself. In Joplin right now, 84 is what it feels like. Dew point 71, south breeze at 13, gusting upwards of 23. Got a few clouds out there, but really not many. Temperatures this morning, uncomfortably hot. We've got upper 70s and lower 80s. And once we factor in these dew points, which are also relatively terrible, we've got low, mid, and even upper 70-degree dew points, taking us muggy, soupy, and beyond on the dew point tracker. And that's taking those heat index values into the low to mid 80s here at almost 6 a.m. And it feels like it's 85 degrees in Chanute right now. For the rest of the morning, again, partly cloudy skies. We'll keep an eye on those showers out west, but they really shouldn't do anything for us, unfortunately. I know we'd rather they did, but they won't. We'll go upper 80s by 11 o'clock this morning. We're talking highs once again, upper 90s, lower 100s out there. Partly cloudy skies, and we'll hold on to partly cloudy skies in the evening. As mentioned, maybe a stray shower thunderstorm late tonight into tomorrow. Most of us, though, still dry and very warm tonight as we fall back near 80 degrees. We'll be about 100 tomorrow. Our alert day continues, dangerous heat continues, and take a look at these temperatures. There's no real relief from the heat for the next several days, maybe a couple of showers next Thursday and Friday. That's Check Your Forecast. We're back with more right after this.
From Garfield to Puss in Boots to internet videos, cats have a perfect place in pop culture. David Daniel has a feline you'll like.
You can't have a cat in here. It's a service cat.
A Quiet Place Day One director Michael Sarnowski wasn't sure at first about making a cat such a big part of the film.
The first couple of weeks, you're like, what have I done? This is going to become the thing that, like, this will be the stake in the heart of this movie. That, like, how are we going to be able to, like, do all the stuff we need to do with this cat? And then you realize, you have these incredible animal trainers who are so on top of what these cats are doing. The cats are wonderful. And so, a couple weeks into the movie, you realize, oh, okay, this is how we have to deal with the cats. And they'll do this stuff and they don't want to do this stuff. So we'll adjust a couple little things here and there. And they actually are able to do this thing that I didn't think they could do. Like, let's do that. And it's just, you're kind of just playing to their strengths. And by the end, they're just a part of the team and are doing an amazing job.
A Quiet Place Day One is in theaters and on digital platforms.
Your cats love you. But do they respect you? Probably not.
Maybe this will help. Cat Video Fest 2024 is headed to theaters beginning Friday. Billed as the world's #1 cat video festival, it compiles feline film clips from all over, and a portion of ticket sales goes to local cat-focused charities and animal welfare groups. Theater listings and more at catvideofest.com. Pausing to enjoy in Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
A startling discovery of foul play under a patrol vehicle thanks to an eagle-eyed deputy with a talent for helping birds in trouble. Jeremy Roth has this in today's Take a Look at This.
Cops helping critters. That's the through line with today's trio of stories that show sometimes our furry, fuzzy, and feathered friends need protecting and serving too. First, in Arizona, where a sheriff's deputy working a construction site spotted something odd under his patrol vehicle. It turned out to be a juvenile eagle that had been separated from its parents. The bird appeared to be in distress, so deputies carefully collected it and put it inside the patrol vehicle to cool off in the AC. There it rested while deputies called the Arizona Raptor Center while documenting the turn of events with some truly tweet-worthy pics for social media. Because it's a bird? Okay. Over in Connecticut, another scene of foul play, and I mean that in a good way, as state troopers responded to assist a family of ducks trapped on a busy highway. The flummoxed flock actually became stuck twice before troopers helped them cross the road, to get to the other side, before sticking around to make sure the second stab at it stuck.
I'll hang out here with them for a little bit.
Finally, in Northern California, a ray of sunshine amidst the devastating wildfires as a Butte County helicopter crew went the distance to save a stranded family of dogs. The Rottweilers had been left behind by a family fleeing the fires and were stuck in a remote area, which required the rescuer, once landed, to hoof it roughly 1.5 miles to collect the dogs before returning to the chopper and flying the pack to safety. The crew say, given the recent events, they were happy to share the good news. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Great to see those adorable puppies being rescued. Stick around. We'll be right back. Chipotle's newest product takes guacamole to another level. The Mexican grill chain announces its first ever beauty product on Monday. Chipotle is collaborating with viral TikTok makeup brand Wonder Skin to release a guac-proof lip stain. The peelable lip stain is called Lipotle, and the product initially goes on green like the brand's beloved guacamole. But once the stain is peeled off, a nude pink shade is left behind. Fans can purchase the Lipotle lip stain kit online for $29. And holy guacamole, if that lip stain has you craving avocados, today is the perfect day to indulge, because just like every July 31st, today is National Avocado Day. Technically a fruit, not a vegetable, avocados have plenty to offer besides taste. Healthy omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin C, E, and K, and potassium. And it has more fiber and protein than any other fruit. A fun fact, there are more than 1,000 varieties of avocados. Mark the day by enjoying an avocado by itself, some chips and guacamole, or be a hipster and have avocado toast for brunch.
Well, if you like avocados, I guess then today is your day. I'm not a big fan of avocados or guacamole, and I know there are some people who are going to hate me for this, but if it helps, my family, they are. The wife, the kids, they like guacamole. They like avocados. I just never acquired a taste for them. But maybe a good way to, stay indoors, something you can celebrate inside, because that's where you're going to want to be. Our alert day continues today and tomorrow. Dangerous heat, partly cloudy skies through the morning, upper 80s by 11 o'clock. Our highs today, once again, into the upper 90s and lower 100s. Our heat index values for most of us up to 115 degrees. No real relief from the heat through the evening or overnight. Back near 80. Could see an isolated shower or storm tonight, but again, most of us unfortunately will remain dry. We'll still have an opportunity for a couple of pop-up showers or storms on our Thursday, but still very hot, 100 degrees for that high, and no real relief from the heat heading into the weekend or next week. Temperatures still upper 90s, lower 100s out there, with maybe a few scattered storm chances next Thursday and Friday. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.